All right, on numbers 13 and 14. Here we have a proportion question, and 14 we have an equation that has multiple fractions on one side. So we're going to solve and also state the domain here. So on 13 we're solving for y. So since we have a fraction equaling a fraction, we can just cross multiply on this one. So we're going to get 7y times y plus 3 equals 5y times y plus 1. Here we'll need to distribute. So we get 7y squared plus 21y equals 5y squared plus 5y. And looks like we're going to have a quadratic at the end, so we're going to need to set this one equal to 0. So we'll subtract the 5y, which gets you 2y squared. Subtract the 5y, and you get 16y equals 0. Okay. And it looks like we have a common factor of 2y, which leaves you with y plus 8 equals 0. So it looks like your possible values of x here, or sorry, y here would be y equals 0 and y equals negative 8. And then we have to check our domain. Looks like we had a 5y and a 7y, so for your domain here it would be x such that x is not allowed to be, in either case there, can't equal 0. So this is your domain. Okay. And since we got y equals 0 for one of our answers, that one is not valid, which means your only solution here is y equals negative 8. Okay. Moving on to number 14. Here this was an equation, so we can't cross multiply on this one. Instead, we're going to solve 14 similar to how we did 11 and 12, where we're going to find an LCD and multiply through by it to get rid of all our fractions. So first thing you'll want to do is factor everything in order to find your LCD. So this is already its own factor. X is its own factor there, but this has a common factor of x, which leaves you with x plus 2, which should look familiar partly because we have an x there. So it looks like for our LCD in this one, our least common denominator, we need an x, we need an x plus 1, and we need the x plus 2. So that's what we're going to multiply this side and this side by, x, x plus 1, x plus 2, and this side x, x plus 1, x plus 2. So our first fraction here, the x plus 1's are going to cancel, and we already had a 2 in the numerator, and that's going to be joined by the x and the x plus 2. Since neither of those canceled, just the x plus 1's did. And then that's minus, and we've got a 1 in the numerator, and then looks like the x's cancel, which leaves you with x plus 1 times x plus 2, because neither of those canceled with the denominator, equals, then over here the x and the x plus 2 cancels, which leaves you with negative 4 times x plus 1. Okay, so all our fractions are now gone. And now we can just distribute and combine up our like terms. Oops. Here we probably don't want to distribute that until the end. Let's hold off. Let's FOIL this out first. We'll FOIL this guy out, and then we'll distribute this. So we get 2x squared plus 4x. And I'm going to leave this negative 1 here, and I'm going to write the FOILed expression here. So that's x squared plus 3x plus 2. Equals, distribute this, you get negative 4x minus 4. Now we're able to go ahead and distribute the negative out here, so that's 2x squared plus 4x minus x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals negative 4x minus 4. Okay. Now, looks like here we're going to end up with a quadratic because these terms are going to leave us with an x squared. So that means we should probably set this equal to 0 since we have a quadratic. So looking at their x terms, we have 4x minus 3x is 1x, but then this negative 4x is going to come over, so that's going to get you 5x. And then we have a negative 2 here and a negative 4 that needs to come over, so that's going to leave you with a plus 2 equals 0. And this doesn't look too happy. Looks like we're going to not be able to come up with factors of 2 to get us 5. And since 5 is odd, completing the square is going to be a bad option, so it looks like we have the quadratic formula. So using the quadratic formula, we have x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 2, all over 2 times a, and a was 1. So x equals opposite of b plus or minus square root of 25 minus 4 times 1 times 2 is 8 over 2, which then reduces down to x equals negative 4 plus or minus square root of 17 over 2. And I do not believe you can do anything else with that. So there is your final answer of x. Okay. And although I highly doubt that that's a bad value of the domain, we should list the domain because they ask us for it. So on this one, bad values of x here for our domain, I'll just list it off here to the side. The domain is x such that x can't equal negative 1, x can't equal 0, and x can't equal negative 2. Okay? So that's problem number 14.